we are lashed to a present where we are spending billions of dollars on stuff that doesn't work, right? It's not a bug of the system that we're not more rapidly acquiring these technologies. It's a feature of the system. President Biden requested 68 new F-35s to purchase. Today, in America, 29% of the F-35s are fully operationally capable. Now, I don't know much about warfare like my colleagues, but I do know if something costs $100 million, it should definitely work more than 29% of the time, especially if you're telling us it's the past. So we, I think responsibly as the authorizers, we cut 10 off the block and said you got to make more of these things work. And then the Appropriations Committee not only restored the 10 that we cut, they went and added 10 more. So when you critique our system, Mr. Sang, and didn't allow a vote on the good amendment. So that's what you're up against. What you're up against is a corrupt system where principally 5 companies distribute hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign donations and hire former staffers and hire former lawmakers to be able to influence the process for them. And I bet you didn't have me citing Elizabeth Warren on your bingo card today, but she released a 2003 report entitled Pentagon Alchemy, How Defense Officials Pass Through the Revolving Door and Peddle Brass for Gold. And the key findings of Senator Warren's report are that top defense contractors hire hundreds of former government officials, mostly as lobbyists. The defense industry consolidation increases the risk for big corporations to abuse the powers of the revolving door. And the big defense contractors hired the most revolving door lobbyists and stocked their board with the most former government officials. So to all of you great innovators who are describing the future of warfare to us, do you think it's a fair fight? Like, do you actually think that if you come up with a better mousetrap, that that's going to result in rapid acquisition? Or is it just about who gives out? In the last 2 decades, defense contractors have given out $285 million in campaign contributions and have spent $2.5 billion in lobbying. You guys think it's fair?
Commercial citizen, we are very competitive. And we're happy to go head-to-head with any other technology to prove that one's better than the other.
No, having a bake-off would be lovely, Mr. Jenkins, but I don't think you're going to get that opportunity based on the rigged system we have. And the fact that we're buying 10 more F-35s for billions of dollars that don't work, when Mr. Sang says you guys are spending less than $100 million on that which is going to win the future on AI and autonomous systems, is the fundamental critique. So the GAO does this big report and they say, look, we got to have these lobbying reforms where you can't have people rolling right into influencing the very systems that they were a part of, and they apply that to lobbying. And we, to our credit, passed that in the 2018 NDAA. But then DOD started interpreting that to say, well, that's just registered lobbying. That's not acquisition as well. So people engage in the revolving door on acquisition, whereas on lobbying, they're tightening down on that. Does anyone think that we should be more lax on the acquisition revolving door reforms than we are on the lobbying reforms? Does anyone think that? Do any of you challenge the premise that the acquisition process is corrupted when the senior Pentagon officials and the senior generals involved in these programs then go work for the big five companies? Do any of you say, no, that's not corrupt? Any of you? Well, the silence is deafening. The silence is deafening because you all know you're playing a rigged game, and we participated in it, and it's shameful. It should be the very bake-off that Mr. Jenkins is describing. But we'll do all this stuff to learn about all these exquisite technologies, but again, it is not a bug of the system. It is a feature of the system, and it is deeply unpatriotic.